Hi everyone, welcome to the Withering Effect, episode 107. Today's date is August 8th, 2021, and I am Duds or Duds versus known to the rest of the interwebs.
And I'm Jimbo. You may know me as Jimbo Slice 23. So what have you been up to this week, Duds?
Well, I think I'm getting pretty good at reading out the date and not trying to rely on remembering what you said in the pre-show, because I forgot to look at the date. I just looked down and went, oh, bam.
Yeah, you just got to know where it's at on your computer.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah. This week has been a busy but not busy week, if that makes sense. So I've been doing some home renovations. As we all know, I found a snake in my kitchen. No bueno. Don't do that.
Not good.
Hate snakes. Got that sucker out of my house. But in doing so, that meant I replaced all the weather stripping and threshold seals on every door in the house. So there is no way anything else is getting in my house anymore.
That's hilarious. You got it all snake-proofed.
I hate snakes. Snakes are not cool.
Yeah, I'm not scared of them, but I'm not a huge fan of snakes. I'm probably more scared of bees than I am of snakes.
Yeah, no, bees, mice, all that stuff. Or not bees, snakes, mice. I don't do them. I don't do critters. That being said, like putting stuff in the yard that would keep things from coming into the yard, I don't like doing. Because we have rabbits and deer and stuff that come into the yard, and I like that. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But snakes and rats? Get out of here.
Yeah. You don't want to get infested.
Exactly.
It's nice to have a visitor every once in a while, but an infestation can get out of hand.
And see, when we first moved in, the attic was just covered in mouse feces. Like, that's one of the things we went and we were like, holy cow, they've got a mouse problem.
Yeah. That was there since before you moved in.
Right. Well, as we're cleaning up all the mouse excrement, we found a bunch of snake skin too.
Oh my god.
So obviously the snakes followed the mice into the attic, and we realized we didn't have a mouse problem anymore because all the snakes had eaten them.
Now you got a snake problem.
We didn't find any snakes up there, and we ended up moving a dryer vent that we thought could have been the access point into the side of the house. We tore down a couple trees in the backyard, not because of animals and stuff. We had two really dead trees that were just kind of standing, and the home inspector was like, yeah, those things could fall like at any point. So we were able to get a couple $1,000s off the house price to be like, hey, we got to cut those trees down as soon as we move in. So
Oh, that helps.
yeah, that helped. We got that done and stuff.
Maybe the snake never
left.
broke into your house. Maybe it's an offspring from one of the snakes that's been there forever. It just got big enough to slither its way out into the open.
I don't know, but it freaked me out. Needs to say, my house is sealed up tight. I don't think a bug can get inside this house right now.
Nice. It's a lot of work.
So I'm pretty happy with that. But in some Minecraft news, I worked on my waterfall on my mountain. It's a little waterfall, little tiny waterfall, but I think it's pretty. The worst part is, so my storage room, the behind the scenes section, to spawn proof it, because I didn't want to have a bunch of light back there. I wanted it dark. I just like carpeted everything behind all the machines. While building this waterfall, the amount of times I broke into the storage room and just dumped water on all of this carpet was, by the time I was done, I was like, oh, thank the Lord I don't have to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Trying to maneuver water, and once you get water in place, at least it's good enough to kind of stay, but trying to get it in the correct space or place and flow you want was a little pain.
Yeah, I've been there.
Mm-hmm. But I've also been working on a lighthouse on the opposite side. I'm pretty sure I mentioned both the waterfall and the lighthouse last week, but both of them I was like, I don't know how to build that. Well, this week I do. The lighthouse is complete. All I need to do is the base structure it sits on, and it turns on and off at night.
Yeah.
On automatically. Don't have to do anything, which I was pretty excited about. And it's rather large. All the lighthouses I've built, we'll call the quote-unquote redstone lamp screen, was like a 3x3 on all four sides.
Yeah.
This one is a 5x4 on all four sides.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot bigger than the other ones I've done before, but it works. It looks good. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, you think because it being functioning, it's got to be a little bit larger. Fit that redstone in there. Could you have done it if it was smaller?
Yeah, the redstone I used was a bunch of observers.
Oh.
So what's cool is I have a track of observers. It's like I just observers, but it's a track of observers. I did it again. It's because it's early in the morning. I literally just woke up 30 minutes ago.
You'll learn to speak eventually.
Yeah. So all of the observers are looking at each other in a circle pattern. And then I have the same observers looking down at the track, pointing up and into the redstone lamps. So once the circle pattern starts going, the vertical ones are powering 2 redstone lamps at a time. So I had to basically do the same track on the top and bottom. And then I used a daylight sensor to push and pull 3 pistons, 1 piston for the top track, 1 piston to activate another pulse observer down below to activate another piston. And I'm basically just pulling observers out of the track, and it'll cycle through, and then it can't continue, so it just shuts off.
Oh, okay.
And then moonlight comes, and it shoves those guys back in the tracks, and it starts again.
Yeah, that's neat.
Pretty neat, super easy. I was getting really scared of having to craft as many observers as I was going to, because I think I needed 100 and something. I was like, oh, this is going to be expensive. But then I went to Duck Chicken Duck's Redstone shop, bought 18 stacks worth.
Oh, wow.
Of those things. It's like, yeah, they're 18 for a diamond. Sure, here you go.
Here's a stack.
Yeah. Yeah, super happy with the waterfall. Super happy with the lighthouse, especially now that it's functioning and I can look up. Oh, and I did your little texture fade.
Ooh.
Like the bottom of the White House is diorite. The middle portion is calcite, and then the top is smooth quartz.
Ah, that's a good fade right there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a white-ish. Did you give it the pirate theme?
It's not really pirate themed.
Okay.
I have thought about sticking a ship on it, like just like a ship fell on top of it during a storm or whatever. See, that was the problem. I was trying to theme it with the base, and then trying to make it functional at the same time. I said, look, just build a lighthouse and then make everything else around it themed.
There you go.
That's what I did.
Or put some of your pirate banners up there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's little things you could do.
Yeah.
To make it look a little more piratey. Just write pirate lighthouse on the side of it.
Yeah. But I'm going to give a shout out to aubni because he gave me like 17 stacks of calcite.
Ooh.
Because I only had about 6. I was like, man, I need a lot of calcite to do this.
Yeah.
And then he was like, yeah, here you have it. And I ended up tossing him some diamonds and basically made the project happen. The worst part is when it was all said and done, the amount of diorite and quartz I used, I only ended up using like 4 stacks of calcite.
Ah.
But because of the way I build, I think I've discovered I'm not a quote unquote builder. I'm a sculptor.
Oh, okay.
Basically build the entire thing out of one block and then just go back and slowly chop pieces out and add detail and stuff.
Yeah, sometimes I find that the easiest way. Because I do that sometimes. I just get my walls in place and then we'll go back and detail them.
Yeah, I'm not good enough. I don't know how these guys can add the detail as they go.
Mm-hmm.
Bravo to you. I can't do it.
It's definitely extra work going back through a second or even third time to detail something.
Mm-hmm.
It does help if you got a mental block. Just build it. Just put it up there and then go back to it.
Yeah, just the best way for me, if you guys want to see how I do it, is my last episode where I did I think it was called Palm Tree Plateaus. I did a time lapse of me doing a plateau in my storage room. And you can see me carve out the wireframe, build a big kind of flat surface, and then slowly go through and chop and chop and chop until it's officially sculpted to how I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably an easier way than you guys listening to me, because I probably don't explain it very well. Jimbo, how was your week?
No Minecraft, once again. You probably have an episode coming out soon, seems like, with all the stuff you've been doing.
It should be out before this episode comes out.
Yeah, no episode for me. Like I said, with my computer messing up, I lost all the footage that I had. It had me a little unmotivated, but I have the episodes in my head ready to go, but I need to figure out my intro because I lost everything. So I have to somehow explain at the beginning of my video of what happened.
Yeah.
All this stuff that I had recorded is now gone. So I gotta be like, oh, now we're here and this is why type of deal. But I got an idea. I want to make it a little more fun, put a storyline behind it, not so much tell you that I messed up in that sense.
Yeah.
But besides that, I can't get on the server because I've been working so much lately. I've been working 7 days a week as of right now, but I got today off, thank goodness. We were going to record this last night after I got done with work, because I was like, okay, Saturday night should be our slowest day. We should be able to get out at a decent time, so Saturday night would be the best for recording, and you agreed, Saturday would be best for you also. No, that was the longest day I've had this week. I didn't get off till like 10:15. I ended up leaving the work site. And I got home at 11. And I was like, dude, I'm so beat. There's no way I'm going to be able to function during this podcast. We don't want to, give out crappy content where I'm mumbling, stumbling through, even though I do it half the time.
I'd say even though we already can't read scripts.
Right, yeah. But yeah, I at least want to be semi-focused during the show. I got home last night and from working 16 hours, my feet had like blisters on them. Because for one, when I got back to work, I had to get some new boots. Other boots were kind of old, so I got some new boots, and you have to wear your boots in, especially if you're running around like I was doing. And just feet were so sore by the end of the day to where when I got home, I had like blisters on them. It's never happened to me before. And I was just, there's no way I could have recorded. And it's hard to find time now because I'm back to work. And we're working so much. This is like, we're in the middle of summer. Work is at its peak at this point. It will slow down eventually. And I plan on getting some kind of recording in today because I am off. But then again, because I've been working so much, haven't spent much time with the family, so I do want to take advantage of that as well. So kind of trying to prioritize myself. Yeah. Get back on a schedule. I still go to the gym, still been working out. I went yesterday morning at 5 a.m. and then did that 16-hour shift. So I probably should have just took that day off, but I don't know. I'm still maintaining the workout schedule.
GG.
Yeah, I mean, people were like, are you went to the gym again? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I wake up early and that's my schedule now. Go to the gym. And when I go to the gym, I'm kind of upbeat and ready and I feel good to go to work. Eventually, I don't know, probably around 3 o'clock or so. We start work around 7, but around 3 o'clock, I'll start to like crash a little bit. But you get out of there at 5, so normally you get out of there at 5. Yeah. Late nights though. But yeah, I'm feeling all right. Besides the whole, sore feet type of deal. But yeah, that's about it for my week. Just a lot of work. Work.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to the news. We don't have a lot of news this week. We've got a little bit of news. This one comes from Henrik on Twitter. Again, Minecraft developer. He posted a tweet talking about connected water systems. So if you see like an aquifer on the surface, that aquifer, you can swim down it and it should lead to underground aquifers also, which is really cool. Yeah, to have everything kind of connected like that is one thing we talked about wanting, having more surface level, how do you want to call it, points of interest that can lead to underground points of interest.
Yeah, I didn't get to see that tweet. I'm actually looking at it right now. He's got a video.
Yeah, it's a video. It's about like a minute and a half or something like that.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's how out of the loop I've been.
Looks really cool. And Mojang has slowly been pulling me into the getting excited for the Caves and Cliffs update. We all remember when it first came out, I was just like, I really didn't care at all for it. Seeing all the work they're putting into it, I'm getting a little bit more excited. I think the mob spawning light level change is the big fix for me, though.
Yeah.
Mainly because that was the thing I was most worried about.
I'm really excited for the whole generation, the new world generation period. Like we mentioned before, they have that experimental snapshot out, and it's to give a different generation to the world. And I'm really liking how it looks. All the different, I don't know, the different hills and the mountains and how everything just goes together. It looks more natural, but it looks different at the same time.
Yeah. That being said, I have no interest in building a house in a cave. I do that already, and I feel my caves are better. But that's because they're not caves. They're duds holes.
Or house, yeah.
Maybe there are other people who would enjoy kind of doing some underground living, which is cool because obviously that's mainly what I do is underground living. But I always prefer the nice solid ground because I get a lot of materials when I dig out my bases.
Yeah, a lot of resources.
But the underground water aquifers are definitely the thing I'm looking forward to the most in the caves. Probably even more than the deep dark right now. Because obviously we don't know a lot about the deep dark. So until we do, underground water aquifers, you're my favorite.
And underground water aquifers isn't easy to say. I haven't got to watch this video yet. It does sound interesting. I have an idea of what it is. But yeah, I can't just watch it right now mid-show. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they are and how they generate.
It's nothing crazy. It's just a water cave that happens to connect at the surface and then connect to a location underground.
Okay.
So don't go into it thinking, Duds hype this up so much. And it's like, no, I get excited over little details.
Yeah.
And that's a little detail that makes a lot of sense that I am looking forward to.
Yeah. You mentioned you liked it. You're more excited over this than the deep dark. So I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Gotta check this out.
No, it's because I get excited over details.
Yeah, okay.
More so than flash.
Gotcha.
But yep, that's kind of it for the news. Short news segment this week. I think Mojang will slowly start to be coming back from vacation and putting more stuff out. We have Minecon Live coming soon. Isn't that in September?
I don't know when it is.
It's like a month away, I thought.
Yeah, I think it was late August last year. So it's either late August or early September.
Don't know. But anyways, let's move into listener comments. This week, we got an email from Galaxy Fox. They say, hello, if you could add any animal, not always an angry mob, to Minecraft, what would you add? Really like listening to your podcast, so I thought I'd make some fan art. Hope you like it. And they have sent a picture of a podcast about red dragons with a dragon picture on it. Very appreciative. I save all the fan art we get. There is a folder on my phone labeled fan art, and that has definitely gone into the stash. So thank you very much.
Yeah, really cool. Those are always nice to see people taking their time out.
Yeah, Carl threw it up in the show notes for us.
Yeah. Have we shared it on Discord?
I don't think we have. I'll wait to hear from if Galaxy Fox sends us another email or something, lets us know. We'll throw it up on the Discord and maybe have Carl throw it on the Twitter account, but I don't want to do that unless they say it's okay.
Right. Yeah.
All right, question on hand though. If you could add any mob or any animal, not a mob, any animal, doesn't have to be an angry one, what would you add?
Not gonna lie, I have this, I don't know, spirit animal. Okay.
Okay.
a lot of my, well, at least my wife's side of the family, they call me the sloth, right? Because we play cards. Usually when we have family dinners, we'll play some game of cards. And I take forever to shuffle, apparently. I think I shuffle normally, but they call me the sloth. And whenever they start calling me the sloth, they start calling me names, I slow down really, really slow. Because I have this spirit animal, technically, I would like to see a sloth in the game. I wonder how it would look or what it would do. I mean, of course, it would be slow,
Yeah.
Wouldn't be very fast. I don't know if it would have so much of a function, though. I'm trying to think of if we had a sloth, what kind of function it would have. Maybe it can farm things for you. Maybe it's in trees. Maybe it can break leaves for you. I don't know. Something along those lines. I'm not too sure. But I would like to see a sloth.
A sloth could be really cool. I'm with you. I don't know how they would do it and how it would look, because I think you would have to detail it too much for Minecraft.
Yeah, sloths are like, I don't know, they're on the border of like animal, you know what I mean? Because they got well, they got claws and stuff. But, they got their legs, their arms.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Usually you got animals. Most of them got like 4 legs. Monkeys, gorillas, that type of deal. But you don't see too many with arms. And Sloth's one of those. I'm kind of curious how it would look as a Minecraft character.
Yeah. My pick would be the ostrich, and I'd want it in the savanna biomes, mainly to bring some life to savanna biomes. I was originally thinking a river otter, but we've got so many new water critters as it is. Let's add something to a biome that doesn't have a lot of life. So ostriches in savannas let you ride the ostriches.
Yes.
I think that could be really cool. That would be really fun.
Oh yeah, another rideable mob.
I
was also thinking maybe like you mentioned, we got a lot of river mobs and water mobs now. We don't have really any flying mobs. You got the phantom. You see it every once in a while. And yeah, that's it. Chickens, parrots, they don't really fly. It'd be nice to see some life in the sky.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the only reason the phantom won the mob vote, was because it was a flying mob.
You could be right there.
I mean, we keep forgetting bats technically are flying mobs too, but
yeah.
Should that mob even be in the game? I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Yeah, I do forget about bats too. But you don't kind of see them out in daylight, out in the open.
No, and they're kind of useless.
Yeah, they're just in the caves getting in your way.
Being annoying and squeaking everywhere. Don't even give proper Batman heads now.
Right. Can't even drop a black head.
Yeah, so I'm going ostrich in the savannah. I think that's just way too cool. But a flying mob would be great.
Where would the sloth go?
Sloth would have to be jungle, right?
Yeah, you'd think jungle. I mean, I'm not too sure where they populate, but yeah, you would think jungle.
A hawk could be really cool.
A hawk?
Yeah.
Yeah, some kind of... It doesn't even have to be that big, but hawks are a good size. Maybe they could grab fish out of the water.
Yeah, I was going to say, and they can be a multiple biome type mob.
Yes. Yeah, they are pretty, I don't know, everywhere.
Yeah. Basically any forest biome, rivers, lakes, stuff like that.
It'd be cool if, like, one of their features is if you're on a horse and you're riding a horse and there's a hawk, it'll, like, ride beside you, fly beside you. You know, just that hero type of picture.
If you end up getting attacked, it'll swoop down and start pecking at whatever's attacking you.
Yeah, maybe it could be your friend.
Be like the dog is, or the wolf. Super cool. Now I want to change my idea from ostrich to hawk.
Yeah, I would like to see some flying mobs, man.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot you could do.
Maybe in an update coming soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
But yeah, thanks you for that, Galaxy Fox. That comment wasn't from our Discord. Carl, looking at you. But our Discord is the only place where you can talk to everyone who works on the show. Just take YDYT's word for it.
Hey everyone, I'm YDYT and I'm a member of the Withering Effect Discord. It's a great place to hang out with fellow listeners like me and to the people who work on the show. So join today and let's discuss the game we love. There are links in the show notes.
Thank you for the Discord ad, YDYT. And speaking of the Discord, it's the only place you can get involved in our Mending Minecraft vote. This week, we asked you to choose between one of 3 structures for us to discuss and improve. Your choices were the Pillager Outpost, Desert Well, and End Fountain.
And the winner of Mending Minecraft this week is... Desert Well.
Like there was any other choice.
Yeah, there's 2 other choices. But Desert Well came out, like, very strong with 41 votes. I don't think any other option has had that many votes.
Probably not.
Yeah, the Pillager Outpost only had 9 and 12 for the End Fountain, which I completely forgot about the End Fountain being like a structure, just because you see it all the time. It's always in the same spot, I guess. But few things on the Desert Well, and Only a few things. Desert wells are sandstone structures that generate in the desert biomes. The well is considered a natural feature rather than a structure, and therefore generates with the generate structures option disabled. No desert well can generate on terrain higher than Y128. And that's it. That's all I got. Like, I was looking for stuff to add to these notes, but that's about it. That's all you're going to get with the well. Not really much. You kind of got a blank slate here.
Yeah. So I've talked about the desert well before. I've talked about changing it into an oasis instead of a well, because to me that makes way more sense than a well in the desert. I think more people would connect water in the desert with an oasis. So go with that. But our job isn't to create something new. It's to fix the thing we have in front of us. So fixing the well, like you said, is kind of a blank slate. There's not much to these things other than a single thing of water.
That's it.
That's it. Some sandstone and water. I always thought there should be treasure at a desert well. Like, you should be able to look into the well, find a chest, open it up, and get goodies.
Yeah, it's one of very few structures that don't have treasure.
So that's my first pickup. And it doesn't have to be every well, just randomized wells. And thinking like that brought me to the igloo. What if the well was like the igloo, but for deserts, where you can have an empty well, and if you climb down the well, you have the villager laboratory, as I call it, set up underneath the well, like you do the igloo. So that could be cool, or it could be something totally different. It doesn't have to necessarily be the villager lab. It could be a potion brewing lab or something like that.
Yeah, I think they give you that with the igloo just to show you, kind of give you an idea how to convert zombie villagers. What if they did like something different, like, I don't know, something to give you an example of how to use another mechanic? But I'm not too sure what mechanic it could be.
Yeah, Mojang does a pretty good job of trying to set the game up in a way that the game explains to you itself what it wants you to do. That being said, I think the only thing we've come across that we felt they didn't do a very good job explaining was the Nether Portals with the Ruin Portals.
Yeah.
And that's mainly because Crying Obsidian gets put in there for some reason. Crying Obsidian doesn't activate portals.
Yeah. Now, wasn't there, like, I don't know, people mention that there's something at the bottom of wells? I think it was a troll. You know, people were trolling like, hey, at the bottom of wells, there's this. I don't know if they mentioned treasures. I just felt like it's something that was brought up a long time ago. Because every time well, at least at the beginning, I'd see a desert well. I'm like, I heard there's something underneath of these things. And I also heard that there's something underneath igloos. So I think because of the igloo thing, you kind of get curious if there is something under the well. So why not add it?
Just to be fully let down when you go digging.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to do the villager revival thing, me and you talked about, we need more above ground structures to be markers for underground structures. We kind of have that with the azalea tree, marking lush caves underneath. Maybe the desert well could signify lush caves under it, because, you know, it's a desert. It would make sense that if there's water underground, then somebody's going to be building a well to get water from there to the surface.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. A couple people in the Discord mentioned that. Pretty good idea. I like that.
There needs to be more signifiers between the surface and underground. It's a lot of hope and pray while digging to hit something. And I think markers, like structural markers, could be really good. Especially like we have archaeology coming up. If I go to an area and I'm finding signs of civilization, I need to see other signs of civilization. If that civilization's in a desert, obviously they're going to be living near a water source. There needs to be a well or a river nearby, stuff like that. And I get Minecraft's a randomized game of chance. And that's not always the easiest thing to do, but it's just a thought. That's what Mending Minecraft's about. We're just talking about things we'd like to see, not knowing if it was ever possible.
Yeah. It does say the desert well can't generate higher than Y28, so because of that fact, you'd think it would be above some kind of cave. Caves aren't going to generate too often above that level, so it's kind of at the spot where you could see a cave underneath of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be high elevated.
Yeah, even marking dripstone caves would be a good idea. Well, actually, the aquifers would make the most sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Can't believe I didn't think that. But yeah, honestly, the structure is super boring. That's kind of the way it is. And I'm not even suggesting changing the structure, really. Just give it more than just, here's something that took 5 minutes to throw together. And that was okay early game, but it's definitely it's a forgotten structure.
Yeah.
Doesn't serve a purpose. It's kind of just thrown around randomly.
You run right past it now. There's never a time where you're like, oh, there's a desert well. No, you don't say that. No one cares.
No one cares. Especially considering the way biomes are in Minecraft. Unless you're playing on really large biomes, you're probably going to find a river in the desert anyways.
Yeah, or next to an ocean.
Or next to an ocean.
Pretty abundant.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, wells naturally are pretty deep.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing's got one water source in it.
Yup.
So it's like, is it even a well? Or is it just like a little pond? Or not a pond, but I don't know what you would call it.
It's a bucket.
Yeah, it's a bucket of water sitting in there. So it's not even that deep.
How cool would it be if, like you said, wells were way deeper, and if you jumped in a well with no armor and you sunk to the bottom, you would start to drown before being thrown into a cave system or something like that. So, like, you had to take the chance. Can you get to the bottom fast enough before drowning?
Yeah, give a little bit of challenge to it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's a desert well, it could possibly have some challenge to it.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, of course, once you get any kind of water breathing on a helmet, that's out the window. But early game.
Yeah, the swimming mechanic could get you down there quicker, too, before you would drown. But still, you're taking a chance.
I don't think you can swim downwards in a 1x1 space.
You can't. Maybe not.
Maybe.
I never tried.
Yeah, I've never tried either. There might be something to look at.
I don't see why you couldn't. I know there's times where I'm in like a little water source and I get in this swimming mechanic and I'm like, why am I swimming right now? I'm in this wee little bit of water.
Yeah, but I think your head has to be underwater already to get into the swim mechanic.
Right.
And we're talking about standing in one thing of water.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Unless it's deeper. That's what I'm saying. If it would go deeper,
oh, yeah,
you could submerge yourself to hit the swimming mechanic.
Maybe.
Or swimming feature. I keep calling it mechanics feature.
I sat there and I was working on this lighthouse and I keep going back and forth to this island to the side. And I've been flying. And then at one point I just get tired of flying and I jump in the water and I swim over. Like, I haven't swam in like months. Keep forgetting about that. It's so much easy just to turn the elytra on and swim around with rockets.
Oh, yeah. That too.
That's kind of it for mending Minecraft. I'm looking at the show. We're going by relatively quick today. Mainly because there's not a lot of news going on. You guys picked Desert Well for mending Minecraft.
I'm sure there's a lot more to discuss about it. We've had, some opinions inside the Discord about it, but not much elaboration.
Well, to me, the best fix for the Desert Well is to get rid of it and put an oasis. But that's not necessarily what mending Minecraft's supposed to be about.
Yeah, you've mentioned that a couple times. You'd like a desert oasis.
I would. It'd be so cool.
Be a lot more useful.
I am not going to ever set up a base in the desert. I would set up a base in a desert oasis.
Okay.
There's that. But let's get into the topic this week. And this is one you came up with. And that's, is Minecraft getting too easy? I have a layman's answer. I think that's what it's going to be called. I just smacked my mic. I'm so sorry. But I'm going to say Minecraft is not getting easy. It's just removing the grind. And I know there's going to be a lot of people saying, well, that's what makes it easy. And I'm going to go with, as someone who never enjoyed the grind, no, that just makes it more enjoyable. Not necessarily easier.
Yeah.
obviously things nowadays are getting easier to build compared to the way they previously were.
Right. Yeah, my kind of take on it is I don't feel like Mojang and Minecraft in general is focused on difficulty. It's more of a adventure / creativity type of game more than a difficulty type of deal.
Exactly.
I think that's the road they want to take.
Yeah, I don't think they're focusing on, well, this is too easy and we need to make the level. I mean, you can have, there's already so many difficulty levels built in the game. You got easy, medium, hard, and then hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah. I mean, there are examples. I mean, iron farms used to be so pain in the butt to build. Now they're not anymore. But when you look at why they're easier, it's not because getting villagers are easier. It's not because getting the zombies and mobs in place are any easier. It's because you don't have to grind stacking villages anymore. If you built a single cell iron farm, which is what I did last season, and just kind of had it in an area where it was always running, it wasn't that much of a pain. It's whenever you would build a Tango Tech level iron farm that people who built that would complain about the iron farms nowadays. I think they're just getting rid of the grind for the most part. And for someone like me who gets an hour or two after work and kind of relies on that to make content or whatever, it has opened up me being able to do more in the game than anything. So
yeah, I feel like removing that grind helps keep interest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't want people to get burnout because of, yeah, this block can be obtainable, but you'd have to grind a lot for it. So they're trying to make things a little more obtainable with farming.
Mm-hmm.
More and more things nowadays can be farmed, and that gives you, you know, more resources than you going out to have to grind for them, like you said. And this keeps your interest, keeps you coming back.
Yeah, FragileRock just mentioned Amethyst, get ready for the grind. And that is one of the few things that is still super grindy. And I question why it was done like that all the time. But if we're talking about something definitely getting easier, it's villager breeding and trading. Because no more do you have to cycle through thousands of villagers to find that one villager who has a mending trade. You can get it whenever you want it, as long as you're willing to place down a lectern over and over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're not breeding tons of villagers, but you still got to grind to get that lectern in the right configuration, I guess, to get the mending book. And even then, you're not unlocking the other trades yet, so you're not sure what you can get there. And later on, you might get a villager because it has an unbreaking book, just to find out it had a cheaper mending book the entire time in its loot table.
Yeah, and there's still things you got to work around. Like, is this workstation too far away from them? You know, is this other villager going to connect to this workstation? There's still some things you got to figure out to do your trading. It's not just, you know, you put the lectern down or whatever their profession may be. There's still some thinking and mechanics behind it. It's not like that easy, but it's definitely a lot easier.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And I looked at yesterday, I needed the smooth quartz for my lighthouse. I'm like, all right, I can go fortune the quartz I have in this chest. I could go digging through the nether to grab some more. Or I could just trade with villagers. And I just traded with villagers because that was a lot simpler.
Safer.
Less of a grind. It still took the same amount of time, if not longer, because I had to wait for villager trades to come back. But I was able to do stuff at the same time. Like, I didn't have to just focus on fortuning quartz and then putting it together to turn it into a block, then putting in the smelter and stuff. I could just go through, do my trades, go back, work on the lighthouse a little bit, come back when I knew this was a new day, do my trades and everything like that. And I prefer that kind of work more, if that makes sense, because you're not burning yourself out doing one thing. You're moving around and doing other things. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird and everyone's listening to this and going, nah, no, the old way's better. I mean, people yell at me about combat like that, and I'm sorry, the old combat system's not better than the new combat system. I know I'm going to grind a lot of gears saying that.
Yeah, I kind of enjoy the changes. I don't think they're going to change the game to make things worse. I think they're just expanding it more, and people just can't, you know, relate or cope with the that much change. They do change some things, but I don't see it as too drastic. I don't know, villager trading is a pretty big change. Hence why it's so much easier.
Well, let's not forget, this is Minecraft. If you don't like the way something works, for the most part, you can generally do it another way and still get the same result.
Yeah.
That's the best part about Minecraft.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to do it a set way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason I came up with this, is Minecraft becoming easier. I was watching Mumbo Jumbo's episode recently, and he's been landscaping, and I noticed he mentioned, is it becoming easier because he's putting down moss blocks, and he's landscaping with these moss blocks, and it looks great. It's becoming, I don't know, a lot easier to landscape, in my opinion, which isn't a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. It actually, that also saves you some grind. It's actually some quality of life. You don't have to place every single block one by one. You can just throw some bone meal down, and you have some beautiful landscaping. It actually turns out really great.
I have a counter argument.
Okay.
Not saying Mumbo's wrong, because I do the exact same thing landscaping now. And if anyone watched my shopping district landscaping thing, that's basically what I did, was throw the moss block down and bone meal it and move on. And you're right, it is an improvement in landscaping. But remember when all you had to do to landscape was just bone meal the ground? Put a tree sapling down, bone meal it, and then bone meal the ground. Now you have grass and flowers, and you're good. You move on. And then landscaping became more of a, well, you need to throw in some coarse dirt. Then it became, oh, you need to throw in a path block here or there. Oh, you need to throw in a crop here or there. And it just gradually evolved. Now we have moss, which is a simpler version of that first evolution. And I'm going to go in 2 years, just putting a moss block down and bone meal in it is going to look like the easy landscaping and not good landscaping anymore, because landscaping is going to evolve again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my thought. It may be easy right now, but in 2 years, it's going to be the equivalent of just bone mealing dirt and grass and moving on.
Yeah, landscaping doesn't technically mean, just putting down grass, and making it look good. There's a lot more involved in landscaping, your height, your depth, what it's going to look like, how the terrain, you shape the terrain and everything. So it's not just, placing moss blocks and bone mealing them. It does look nice.
Yes.
There's definitely situations where it's ideal. I guess mountain building would be one of those. It's just so many blocks to try to...
Well, yes and no. I can state, because I tried this earlier this week, putting a moss block in the mountain and bone mealing it does not go vertically.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, okay. Yeah, so if there are different levels...
Yeah, if you have a relatively flat surface, it works out great. You have a relatively steep surface, no bueno.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So there's that. But I wanted to bring up a couple things that I noticed Mojang specifically made harder.
Okay.
We talked about how most of everything they do, while it looks like it's being easier, it's just making it less of a grind. But I feel there are two things that stick out in my head when I go, well, have they tried to make things harder for us? And the two things were fish farms, obviously.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not sure why. It's one of those things where it's like, if you don't like fish farms, don't use fish farms. I'm over here going, I don't have a conduit at my base because I can't get nautilus shells. Because I used to get nautilus shells by fish farming. And now I don't have the time to grind out a drowned farm and drown nautilus shells from drowned. So, no conduit.
Yeah.
Which you think would make sense, considering half my base is underwater.
So really it'd be nautilus shell farming.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, usually fish farms, I would use those early game, day one.
Yeah.
If I had the redstone, which you can obtain pretty easily. Yeah, to get like books, and upgrade your gear and your armor, and you want better tools. A lot of that's easier with the villager trading that you mentioned. So the fish farms, really, the item that's so hard to obtain now is the nautilus shells.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a lot more useful with fish farms. But I'm okay with them taking the fish farms. I've been playing without them, and I'm okay with it. it's actually gives it a little more challenge, but it's not like it broke the game. I don't think it broke it.
No. One, it just kind of proves the point of it's one of those things. If you didn't like it, you just not use it and still get the same solution, except now there's really no point in using it anyways.
Right.
The other thing was the Nether update. The Nether used to be hard because it was, I'm going to say mesmerizing. You got lost in the Nether a lot. Now, the new biomes and stuff make it less hard to get lost, but everything in the Nether wants to kill you now.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's a lot thicker.
Yeah. So traversing another, especially if you build another portal and you walk in and you're stuck in the, what's it called? The basalt deltas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're just like, what the heck?
Yeah, that's the hardest one to get around.
I mean, I would almost prefer being spawned up in the air above a lava lake over spawning in a basalt delta.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
There's, what are they? Magma cubes. They're pretty dangerous in the basalt deltas. There's so many.
Yeah. And the squishiness really hurts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they hurt pretty bad.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to mention about Minecraft getting so much easier, especially with this update, is the ores now. Now that you can get, when you mine ores and they're raw, this gives you 1 ingot per raw ore. So now that you can fortune these, there's so much more resources to where you don't have to mine as often.
Yeah, that's true.
Another thing I've been doing is ocean mining. If I'm in the ocean, I was looking for the amethyst geodes and the shipwrecks when the new update hit. And I'm swimming around for those. And a lot of times you'll see these ravines in the ocean where you see the magma blocks at the bottom giving the bubbles. And you swim down there. That's Y level 11, I think it is. That's lava level. That's going to be gone eventually. But down there is diamond level also. So if you swim around these ravines in the ocean, there's diamonds. They're easily obtainable that way. I think I found more diamonds doing that, looking for these shipwrecks and amethyst geodes, than I do strip mining. So resources has actually become a lot easier nowadays. Or maybe I'm just finding different techniques.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the whole game of Minecraft, right? Is it's constantly changing and evolving, and it's your job to find the new technique. I mean, remember the whole clay in the water diamond hunting trick that caught on for like all of 2 months?
Yeah.
Now I think there's a lapis trick you could do to find diamonds.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the clay thing only worked for me a couple times. I was probably doing it wrong. Probably operator error there. Probably didn't do it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a couple things here to try to make things harder. One might be a little overboard.
Okay.
And that is no more infinite water sources.
How dare you?
Yes, what if you could not make an infinite water source? I know making pools, if you wanted to make a lake, that would take a lot of time. Then again, you do have the ice block. You could place all that in with ice blocks and then eventually melt it.
Oh, and dripstone.
Yeah, you could put dripstone down. But yeah, it's farmable now with the dripstone and the cauldrons. So because it's farmable, what if they took that feature away, which is a great feature. I use it all the time. It's funny how at the beginning, when you could not get the infinite water source to work, and then you finally figure out how to make it infinite, you figure out the water mechanics, and it's so nice to use. But yeah, if they took that away from us, it would make things a lot more challenging. It might not be worth playing with water.
Yeah, I was going to say, it would fall under the making it harder just to make it harder, not expand on the game.
Yeah.
That's my only gripe, is I don't want to make things harder just to make it harder.
Or you can take out the infinite water source and give you something else to place a lot of water at once. Like maybe the sponge, a wet sponge, can be squeezed and it could drop a ton of water, just as much water as it gathers. Like maybe there's a limit on how much water can fit in a sponge. maybe you can squeeze 10 of them and fill up like a lake.
Well, what if, exactly what you said, a sponge sucks up so much water, you could then break said sponge and it would drop the amount of water it sucked up. But then obviously you've now lost your sponge, which means you would need to be able to craft sponges.
Unless it dropped.
Maybe.
I feel like there's some thinking that's got to be some...
Yeah. The easiest way I can take this is, like, again, look at Fish Farm, another update. Fish Farms taking those away was to make it harder just to make it harder. And I don't think it really came across correctly. The Nether update made the Nether harder, but it expanded the game.
Mm-hmm.
It brought more to the game than just it was hard. So I think taking away an infinite water source falls under there. We're going to make it hard just to be hard. And I don't think there's a good way right now to replace it. Like you said, sponges are an idea, but I think you just find people going, I'm just not going to work with water anymore.
Yeah, it could be true.
That happened a lot with lava. Remember, lava used to have infinite sources, and then they took that away, and people just stopped working with lava.
I didn't know it was ever infinite.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, it was just a thought I had. I'm like, man, this would make things a lot harder. Just because of the new cauldron thing, I'm like, maybe it could be a thing. But it's probably a little overboard, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is, I've noticed every hostile mob that comes to kill you, you can outrun every single one of them.
Yes.
If you're ever in trouble, you can run away. Like, no problem. You're a lot faster than any of them. Even the baby zombies, which are probably the quickest, you can outrun them. So what if they gave hostile mobs a little more speed, to where you can still outrun them, but you're not gonna get away too fast. That was also another thought I had.
I could see that more, especially if it's certain mobs. Baby zombies already feel a bit fast, so I wouldn't want them to go any faster. But yeah, a skeleton being quicker than a zombie makes sense because it's lighter.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's actually slower because it doesn't have the muscles to move quickly. I don't know.
What sucks about them getting faster is they can shoot you from a distance. So if they can run up on you so fast, they're still in range.
Do you remember the bug from a couple years ago where they had the super fast strafing skeletons? They can move side to side super quick.
Yeah.
Whew. Those things were deadly.
I don't know if it's still a bug, but I remember every time, like I like to work with half slabs on my floors. A lot of people do. It spawn proofs it.
Mm-hmm.
If a skeleton would ever come on those half slabs, they would move like 5 times faster. Like they could outrun you at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever came across that, but it's happened to me many times. I'm like, why are they so fast? Is there a glitch? And I've noticed every time they're on these half slabs. I built this dock, and they would wander onto my dock from the darkness, and I couldn't hit them because they're just so fast. They're strafing across and they're moving around.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to do hand-to-hand combat to take them out, but yeah, I don't know if that was a bug. I'm not talking that kind of speed. Don't give them that kind of speed. It'd be a little overwhelming.
It had to have been a bug, and it had to have been fixed by now, because obviously my entire base this season is half slab, and the amount of skeletons I've killed on that mountain, they'll fall on my dock and walk around, and they're not super fast.
Yeah, you would have came across that already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just had those 2 thoughts that could make things a little bit harder. I'm sure there's more things to be said about it. I would definitely like to hear everyone's opinions.
Yeah, but we're out of time. I think that's going to do it for today's show. Before I have Jimbo read us out, I want to say a huge thank you to all of our patrons who are supporting the show. Our milk level patrons are Aubni, ChiefBigBear, Crock, DeadWalker, FragileRock, ohbeep, StoneFigure, and viperoustuna. If you too would like to get access to exclusive benefits and hours of extra content each month, please consider joining at patreon.com/The Withering Effect.
And if you like the show, you can share it with all of your friends and on social media. If you listen on Spotify, follow us, or if you listen on Apple Podcasts, leave us a nice review. Doing any of these really helps the show reach more listeners. If you'd like to get in contact with us, send an email to podcast@thewitheringeffect.com. Tweet us, leave a voice message, or join our Discord where you can have a chat with everyone who works on the show and fellow listeners. All the links will be in the show notes.
This show has been brought to you by Jimbo and myself, but also our digital producer Carl. He helps make sure the show ends up where it should be. The amazing music you hear in the intro and outro is created by the one and only Decoy. Everyone's social media info can be found in the show notes. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much for getting withered with us. You should probably go drink your milk now. Bye.
See you guys.